The chlorine still clung to my skin when Coach Ryan pulled me aside in the empty locker room after practice. "Alex," he said, his voice low and steady, but carrying a weight I had never heard before. "I've been fighting it for years, and today I have to look at my own emotions. Seeing you out there, pushing so hard, it finally hit me. I'm attracted to men, and it's you who made me stop pretending." Those words slammed into me like a wave I couldn't duck under. I stood there dripping, towel half around my neck, staring at the man who had coached me through 2 seasons of record times and broken personal bests. Coach Ryan Bennett, 34, built like he still competed, the guy every swimmer on the USC team respected. He had always been the steady one, the one who knew exactly when to push and when to pull back. Now his brown eyes were locked on mine, raw and honest in a way that made the tiled floor feel like it was tilting. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My mind raced back to every locker room joke, every high five after a good set, every late-night strategy session where we sat side by side reviewing race footage. Had I missed something? Had I given him any reason to think? I mumbled something about needing to hit the showers and practically ran out of there. The drive back to my off-campus apartment in Los Angeles blurred past palm trees and traffic that never slept. I kept replaying the moment, the way his voice cracked just slightly on the word emotions. I was 22, pre-med, top of the swim team, the kid my parents in suburban Chicago still bragged about to their church group. I had dated girls, Sarah last year, quiet and sweet, then Mia the semester before that. Nothing ever felt wrong exactly, just incomplete. Like I was reading a book with half the pages missing. That night, I couldn't sleep. The ceiling fan spun lazy circles above my bed while my phone lit up with a text from my best friend Mike. "Dude, you killed it today. Beer tomorrow." I stared at the screen until it went dark. Mike was the straightest guy I knew, the one who had my back since freshman orientation, the one who would laugh off anything that didn't involve girls or football. How was I supposed to explain that my coach, had just cracked open a door I didn't even know existed in my own head? The next morning, I showed up to practice early, hoping to avoid him. No luck. Coach was already on deck, clipboard in hand, whistle around his neck like armor. He didn't single me out, didn't make it weird in front of the team. But when our eyes met during warm-ups, something passed between us. Not flirtation, not pressure, just a quiet understanding that everything had shifted. I swam harder than I ever had, slicing through the water like I could outrace the questions chasing me. By the time I climbed out, my shoulders burned and my lungs screamed, but the questions were louder. Back in the locker room, the guys joked about weekend parties and midterms. I laughed along, same as always, but inside I felt like an imposter. That afternoon, I skipped my usual study group and drove to the beach instead, sitting on the sand, watching the waves roll in. Families played, couples walked hand in hand, guy and girl, guy and guy, girl and girl. No one stared. Los Angeles didn't care. But I cared. I cared so much it hurt. Coach's confession had forced me to look at my own emotions for the first time, and what I saw scared me more than any race I'd ever lost. I went home and opened my laptop, typing, "What does it mean if your coach says he's attracted to you?" into the search bar, then immediately deleted it. Stupid. I wasn't ready for answers. I wasn't even sure I had the right questions. All I knew was that something inside me had cracked open, and there was no closing it again. 2 days later, Coach caught me after evening practice. The pool deck was quiet, the lights reflecting off the water like scattered stars. "Alex, can we talk?" he asked, voice gentle this time. I nodded, throat tight, and followed him to his small office off the main hallway. He didn't sit behind the desk like a boss. He pulled up the second chair, so we were knee to knee. "I'm sorry if I blindsided you," he started. "I've been carrying this alone since college. Married once, thought it would fix everything. It didn't. When I saw you fighting for every 10th of a second in the 200 free, it was like looking in a mirror at 22. I realized I owed it to myself, and maybe to you, to stop hiding." He paused, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm not asking for anything. I just needed to say it out loud to someone who might understand." I stared at my hands, callous from years of pulling through water. "I don't know what to say, Coach. I've dated girls." I thought that was it. The words felt small in the room. He nodded like he'd expected them. That's okay. You don't have to figure it all out tonight. But if you ever want to talk, no judgment, I'm here. And if you need space, I'll give you that too. We sat in silence for a minute, the kind that felt full instead of empty. When I left, the night air smelled like jasmine and ocean salt. I drove without a destination, ending up at a small coffee shop near campus I'd never noticed before. That's where I met Jordan. He was behind the counter, dark curls falling into his eyes, USC hoodie 2 sizes too big, smiling like the world hadn't disappointed him yet. "Rough day?" he asked when I ordered a plain black coffee I didn't even want. I laughed, surprised at how easy it felt. "You have no idea." We talked for an hour after his shift, about classes, about the pressure of being pre-med, about how Los Angeles could feel like the loneliest place on earth, even surrounded by millions. He didn't push. He just listened. When I finally headed home, my chest felt lighter than it had in days. The next week blurred between practice, lectures, and stolen conversations with Jordan. We texted about stupid things, memes, bad cafeteria food, the way the library always smelled like old paper. Coach kept his word, treating me exactly the same on deck. But every time our eyes met, I felt the weight of his honesty pressing against my own walls. One night, Mike dragged me to a house party in the hills. The music thumped, red cups everywhere, girls dancing on tables. Mike slapped my back. "You've been weird lately, man." "Everything good?" I nodded, forcing a grin. But when a girl I barely knew leaned in close, perfume thick, all I could think about was Jordan's quiet laugh and the way his hand had brushed mine when he handed me my coffee. The realization hit so hard I had to step outside for air. I sat on the curb, city lights stretching forever, and let myself feel it. Not panic, not shame, just the truth settling in my bones. Maybe Coach's confession hadn't broken me. Maybe it had finally let me see myself clearly. Midterms hit like a freight train. I buried myself in textbooks and pool time, trying to outrun the questions that followed me everywhere. Jordan and I started meeting at the beach after his shifts. Nothing official, just 2 guys talking about life. He told me about growing up in a small town outside Sacramento, parents who still send him care packages with homemade cookies and Bible verses. "They love me," he said one evening, toes dug into the sand, "but they don't know everything. I'm waiting for the right time." I understood that weight more than I wanted to admit. Then came the phone call from home. Mom's voice bright on speakerphone while Dad grumbled in the background about the Bears game. "We're so proud of you, honey. Swimming records, pre-med, you're making us look good at church." The word church landed heavy. I pictured the same pews I'd sat in every Sunday growing up, the same pastor preaching about family values. I changed the subject fast. The following Saturday, I finally told Mike. We were at our usual sports bar, wings and beer, halftime on every screen. "Dude, I think I might be into guys." The words came out quieter than I meant. Mike froze mid-bite, then laughed like I'd told the world's worst joke. "Come on, Alex. You're messing with me, right?" Well, I didn't laugh back. His face changed. "Wait, seriously?" The silence stretched. He wiped his hands on a napkin, eyes on the TV. "Look, man, I don't know what to say. This is a lot." He left early, claiming an early workout. I sat there alone, the noise of the bar suddenly too loud. That night my phone stayed dark. No text from Mike. No memes. No "you good?" The betrayal stung deeper than I expected. He was supposed to be my person. Practice the next morning felt different. Coach pulled me aside again, this time just to check in. "You look like you're carrying the weight of the world in your kick set." I told him about Mike. He listened, really listened, then said some people need time. Some never catch up. Either way, you keep swimming your race. His words stayed with me through the rest of the week. Jordan noticed something was off during our next beach walk. I told him everything, Coach Mike, the phone call home that still haunted me. He didn't offer easy answers. He just took my hand for the first time, warm and steady, and said, "You're not alone in this anymore." For the first time since the locker room confession, I believed it. Thanksgiving break loomed. I flew home to Chicago, the cold air a slap after California sun. Mom had the house decorated like a magazine, Dad grilling despite the snow. Everything looked the same family photos on the mantle, same cross above the door. But I felt like a stranger in my own skin. Dinner conversation turned to my future as it always did. Any nice girls at school? Mom asked, passing the mashed potatoes. I mumbled something noncommittal. Later, alone in my childhood bedroom, I stared at the swim trophies lined up like soldiers. Jordan texted, "Missing the beach already?" I smiled at the screen and typed back, "Missing you more." The words felt right. The real storm hit when my aunt casually mentioned seeing Mike at church youth group. He said, "You've been distant lately. Everything okay?" I froze. Mike had told them, not the whole truth, but enough to plant seeds. Dad cornered me in the garage the next day. "Son, if there's something you need to talk about," his voice trailed off, heavy with everything he couldn't say. I lied and said it was just school stress. Back in Los Angeles, the air felt lighter. Jordan met me at the airport with coffee and a hug that lasted longer than friendly. We spent the afternoon walking along the pier, talking about everything and nothing. He told me about the first time he admitted it to himself at 17, the fear, the relief. I told him about Coach's courage and how to crack my own shell. When the sun dipped low, painting the sky orange, Jordan stopped walking and turned to me. "I really like you, Alex. No pressure. Just I want you to know." I kissed him right there on the boardwalk, quick and nervous, the kind of kiss that tasted like salt air and possibility. No fireworks, no dramatic music, just the simple rightness of it. Coach noticed a change of practice. Not the details, but the lighter shoulders, the easier smile. He gave me a small nod across the pool, the kind that said, "Good for you," without words. The team kept training, times dropping, the season building toward conference championships. Life moved forward, but now it moved with me instead of against me. The rumors started small. Someone on the team saw Jordan and me at a campus cafe, hands brushing too long. Whispers turned into stares in the locker room. Mike cornered me after a particularly brutal set. "People are talking, Alex. You need to shut this down." His voice wasn't angry anymore. It was scared. For me or for himself? I couldn't tell. I refused. The next day, Coach called a team meeting. No big speech, just a quiet reminder that the pool was for swimming, not gossip. But the damage was done. My time slipped. One afternoon, I hit the wall on the 100 free and came up gasping, not from exhaustion, but from the weight of eyes on my back. Jordan was my anchor. We spent evenings studying together in his tiny apartment, sharing takeout and quiet conversations about the future. He never asked me to hide. When my parents called after someone from church forwarded an anonymous message about Alex and that boy, the conversation was short and painful. Mom cried. Dad went silent. "We love you," Mom said finally, "but we need time." The line went dead, and I sat on Jordan's couch staring at nothing until he pulled me into a hug that lasted until the streetlights came on. The lowest point came at the conference meet. I false started in my best event, disqualification that cost the team points. In the stands, I saw Mike look away. Coach found me afterward in the hallway, voice steady. "This isn't the end of your story, Alex. It's the middle. Keep swimming." That night, Jordan and I drove to the same beach where we first held hands. The waves whispered against the shore while I cried for the first time in years. For the boy I used to be, for the family I might lose, for the friend who chose fear over loyalty. Jordan didn't try to fix it. He just stayed. Spring brought warmer water and clearer skies. My time started coming back, stronger than before. Coach worked with me one-on-one, not as a confessor anymore, but as a mentor who had walked the same road. "You're not defined by who you love," he told me during a sunrise workout, "but by how you live." I flew home again for a long weekend, this time with Jordan's encouragement. The conversation with my parents wasn't perfect. Mom still struggled with the words. Dad asked hard questions about my future, about grandkids, about church. But they listened. They hugged me when I left. "We're trying," Mom whispered. It was enough for now. Mike showed up at my door the week before finals, cap in hand. "I was an idiot," he said. "I didn't know how to handle it. I'm sorry. We didn't fix everything in one afternoon, but we talked, really talked, for the first time since the bar. Some friendships bend, some even heal." The season ended with conference championships. I stood on the blocks for the 200 free relay, heart steady, mind clear. When the gun went off, I dove in knowing exactly who I was. We took silver as a team. On the podium, Jordan waited in the stands, cheering louder than anyone. Later, on the same beach where everything started to make sense, he slipped his hand into mine and we watched the sun set over the Pacific. Coach sent me a text the next morning. "Proud of you, kid. Keep looking at your own emotions. They'll always steer you right." Life wasn't perfect. My parents still had questions. The team still had a few awkward moments. But I had Jordan, I had myself, and I had the courage Coach had accidentally given me that day in the locker room. True or false? Hiding who you truly are is ever the right choice when it comes to love and family?